Welcome to the Squad Show. I'm Sam Ekstrom, and I've got a shocking nerdy stat today about the Vikings in short yardage.
Hey, this is Arif Hasan with Wide Left Football. I recently woke up from a 5-year coma, learned that the Vikings are about to play the Detroit Lions. Should be an easy win. Looking forward to it. They always got them.
Get right, game.
What's happening? Luke Inman at Luke_Spinman. You know, I'm hoping by year 10, I'll have finally figured out if Jordan Love is good or not. 6 years in, I still don't know. I don't know.
I'm Luke Braun of Locked On Vikings. Just crossed 10,000 subs on YouTube. Thanks, everybody.
Unsub.
Skol! It's the Viking Squad. Everything Minnesota Vikings every week. Breaking down all the big hits and game-changing plays from the land of 10,000 lakes. The way only the Locked On Podcast Network can. It's time to gear up. The Viking Squad Show starts now.
What's up, everybody? Welcome in to the Monday Vikings Squad Show, streaming on Locked On Vikings. Find our audio in the Locked On Vikings podcast feed wherever you get your podcasts. Thanks to the everydayers that tune in all week long. We've got a big week leading up to the Lions game in week 9. We're getting closer to must-win mode for the Minnesota Vikings. JJ McCarthy likely to make his return, and it all rides on JJ coming back better. There's also a wacky TJ Hockenson trade rumor out there. Would you take those calls? And I want to deep dive into why the Vikings just can't have nice things 2 years consecutively. We will diagnose what's gone wrong the last 15 years, that the every other year curse continues to be in play. Nerdy stats, Lions look ahead, all coming up on this show that's brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. You met the Lukes, you met Arif, and again, I'm Sam Ekstrom. Projected to be JJ McCarthy this week. Schefter's saying it, so it must be true because he's been infallible on all things JJ McCarthy. This is, I mean, this is
Tommy
everything.
P. Gotta go with Tommy P.
Tommy P, he's local. He's got boots on the ground in Minnesota. Yeah. He's out in the west suburbs. This is everything, Luke Inman. If JJ McCarthy comes back and is the guy that we thought he could be in June and July and August, the guy we saw in the fourth quarter against Chicago, that's the path. You probably have to go 7-3 to make the playoffs. 6-4, you're dealing with tiebreakers. 7-3 probably gets you in. You need to go 7-3 with a quarterback that for 7 of 8 quarters to start the season was not very good. Coming off,
I haven't heard that one before, Sam.
It's give me some time to ease in on the Monday, Arif, before we start taking shots, putting me in the firing line. But it's pretty simple, Luke Inman. It's just JJ McCarthy's got to be the guy for the next 10 games, or else this season is a wash.
Yeah, 7-3, no big deal. That's all they got to do. And the thing, too, I think when we look at the 5D aerial view, I don't think it's all on JJ, though, either. You know, 7 games into the season, almost at the halfway mark, I still don't know what the identity is of the Vikings. I don't know what they're good at. I don't know what they can kind of lean on to make sure JJ McCarthy, when he does come back in, doesn't have to come in here and feel like, you know, he's got to do it all. And that's what I'm kind of worried about here this week. You know, they have some good players. They got some elite players, but as we've seen through 7 weeks, they can't run the ball efficiently. They can't protect up front. They can't stop the run. The defense the past 2 weeks, it feels like they've allowed, 58 explosive plays. I don't know what the number is, but undisciplined with penalties too. We talked about that a couple weeks ago in the bye week going into the Philly game. And then you had the 12 men on the field. Dallas Turner going full Mortal Kombat at a quarterback's head, pre-snap penalties, special teams penalties. I know things can change. Things will change from now to the last month of the season. There's always a lot of ebbs and flows in the NFL, but right now it's just not a very good football team, man. And to make matters worse, I was just looking at the standings. It feels like about 80% of the entire NFC is ahead of you in the playoff standings right now. I mean, even teams like the Falcons, they got the tiebreaker on you, the head-to-head. So they got a lot of red flags right now. There's a lot of things to overcome, a lot of things that worry you. Throwing in a quarterback who, again, has put together one full week of practice in the 2 seasons he's been here. I don't care how good you are in college. That's just, it feels like kind of an unfair, unrealistic bar to come in and hit. And I think we're setting him up for failure if we think he's going to be that kind of saving grace that kind of ignites this team on his own, by himself, and kind of set everything in motion to kind of go on that 7-3 or Cinderella run. So I hope it happens. But right now, I think there's a lot more to it that needs to be fixed than just the quarterback, J.J. McCarthy.
Yeah, no doubt. Macho Meach, I'm going to get to that stat. Don't you worry. The Vikings quarterback play, Luke Braun, from week 3 on, led by Carson Wentz, they were 22nd of 30 in average net yards per attempt, 5th highest sack rate, 5th highest interception rate, 18th of 30 in success rate. Those are rookie numbers. Those numbers have to get a lot better if the Vikings are gonna win some games.
Pump those numbers up. Let's get first in interception rate, baby.
Yeah, I think the season is we'll go with spiraling out of control. The Vikings are completely collapsing since week 4. So after that Bengals Jake Browning fell apart in front of you game. The Vikings have been a bottom 5 team in like every category on offense and defense. They've been like the dead last in rushing EPA per play. They've given up bottom 5 rushing EPA and bottom 5 passing EPA on defense. This is currently one of the dregs of the league. They are playing that way. They are playing right there with the Titans and the Jets and the teams you love to make fun of. So when we're talking like, what about the playoff position, the division standing? I don't care. You're playing like 2 more games at this rate. Wow. So the perspective has to shift. You have to now look at J.J. McCarthy coming in, and now it's just about, okay, does it look reasonable? Does it look so bad that we have to start scouting like quarterbacks in the draft? If he can play so well that it upsets the Lions at home, and then you beat the Ravens and suddenly you feel way different about the season, great. Would love that. I have no expectation of that, and the Vikings haven't really given me a reason in the last month to have an expectation of that, even after adjusting for the fact that it was a backup quarterback who was not playing well. All kinds of other stuff sucks, too. This team's bad.
I just want to touch on what you said. I think you're so right. He's missed so much time so far in 2 years that at this point, I mean, this team's so bad at this point, I'm just hoping he can stay on the field long enough to the point where when we hit the end of the year, at least we have a much better idea and feeling that hopefully he's going to be the long-term answer, obviously, and we feel better about him going into 2026 and beyond. Because right now it just feels like you can't even give him a letter grade. It's still incomplete 2 years into the season or his career. So that just hopefully that feels like the worst case scenario. If this team spirals, that's one thing, but getting to the end of the year, I just pray that feels like the worst case scenario when the season ends. Still having an incomplete grade with J.J. McCarthy.
There's 9 quarterbacks from last year's class and this year's class that have like a representative number of snaps in the NFL this year. They've all shown something, just not our guy. Like Spencer Rattler has shown something.
Even the Zach Wilsons give you something.
Right. Yeah, I was about to say, that is I'm not going to say
group.
Generous, because Spencer Rattler has shown you something. But at the same time, it's not as if I'm like more confident in Spencer Rattler than JJ McCarthy. But I get what you're saying, Sam.
This week, right?
Yeah, he got benched for Tyler Shuck. They both got pasted into the dirt. Yeah. Well, okay, what's Sam? You said they needed to go 7-3. What did Patrick Peterson say? You just got to score 5 touchdowns.
Just got to score 5 straight touchdowns.
We got you. We got you. Just score 5 touchdowns, dude.
Like I'm now approaching this season the way I told Titans fans to approach this season. You don't care about the record now. You just care that Cam Ward looks okay.
When did you have like cause to talk to Titans fans? I'm actually
really NFL.
Oh,
weekly national show that I've been doing.
The Vikings won 9 games in a row from this point on last year. I mean, just copy paste.
Sam.
Copy paste, baby.
I've got some nerdy stats when we get there that might speak to that, but at the moment, the Vikings defense, to their credit, is for the season 9th in EPA per play. I did not look it up over the last 2 weeks because I refused to. I respect myself a sliver of a shadow of an amount, so I will not.
It gets really bad when you remove week 3, which it counts, but it is a heavy outlier.
Yeah, I mean, like one thing that you want to do is to kind of look at like success rate. But the thing about success rate is that it can also be subject to outliers because if you have like a 90% success rate against the Bengals, it does kind of skew the whole success rate average when they're throwing for like 50 plays. So
What happens if you have a rushing success rate of 0 in a game?
offensively, that's not good. But also maybe a 9-run sample before you put in your third running back is not a wonderful situation to find yourself in at all anyway. You probably should be running the ball more than 9
Third string
times.
running backs just simply can't
9
produce. Just ask the Chargers.
Hey, that's
I'm
not
not-
fair. They had their 4th string running back and 5th string running back in. That's not, you can't compare that at all.
And their 300-pound fullback, who apparently had like a season high snap count against the Vikings and helped great large pathways for Vidal to run through. What is let's answer Junk and Vikes question. What part of the team is performing at or better the 2024 level?
The interior
Crickets.
defensive line. Well, okay, no, hold on. Caveat.
And I don't even know about that.
Pass rush
yeah.
of the interior
Yeah, the pass
defensive
rush
line.
of the interior defensive
Riker?
line.
You've already benched a starter on the interior.
Yeah,
defensive
no,
line.
yeah.
Like, it's
the
not
pass
going great.
rush. No, that's fair. Yeah. I would say that. I would say, man, I'm not so confident at Will Fries that I'd say right guard. Certainly not center because of injury. Not even in the individual offensive line positions. Actually, that's
Like
Ryan
your
Wright?
receivers are really good.
well, hey, Jordan Addison is killing it.
Yeah, your
Addison.
receivers are really good.
Yeah, I would say it's the
Hard
same
when your
group of
quarterback's
receivers.
not
I
good.
think they're having a better season this year than they were last year. They're just open all the time, but
They're
it's not
just
turning
open
into the
more
production
often
because
when they receive
our
an
quarterback
accurate
does not have
pass.
eyes.
Yeah, and when they receive an accurate pass, they reel it in. When they receive an inaccurate pass, sometimes they reel that in. The running backs are performing better. That's really nice.
Are they?
I think so.
Yeah, Jordan Mason's been really nice. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's
So
there's bits and pieces, but yeah, I think like
yeah.
on
The safety
core
play is
levels,
down, cornerback play is down, linebacker play is down. I think that's going to turn around. Edge rusher play is down, defensive tackle play on the whole.
Pretty
I
much
guess
every
is
level
there.
of both
Down.
sides.
Do you know how
Center,
We're
guard,
trying to
left
like scoop together some crumbs right now. Listen to this conversation and make a sandwich.
right guard's better.
We got nothing.
yeah,
Right guard is better. That's
yeah.
better
Right guard
at,
is
like,
better.
Well, I was told
would
Ed
argue
Ingram
left
is
guard
killing it over in
better, too.
Houston.
I'm into what
It-
Donovan Jackson has done this year.
Eddie Ingram, I believe,
stoked
still
on
has
it.
the highest PFF grade of any Texans offensive lineman, but I would not argue that he's good.
Fair.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Cody's pushing back about the running back improvement thing. I think it's
Well,
been
he's
pretty
just saying,
feast-
how can you
pretty
say
feast
that
or
if they're
famine.
not running the ball, which is fair.
Yeah,
But like,
I mean, it's literally been like Chicago, good. Week 2, bad. Cincinnati,
Well-
good.
well,
Pittsburgh,
I
bad.
do want to
It's-
like separate the running backs from their production, like how the running backs are performing. Can you take a look at what's been blocked for them? What do they do against that? What happens when they receive contact? Are they making decisions quickly? Like, how is their vision? And it's really good. Jordan Mason is absolutely excellent at all of those things, even in games where he's not, he's producing like 3 yards a carry. So I think he's playing well. So I'll give him that. But yeah, the question of what position group is playing better this year than last year is a pretty sobering one.
So if McCarthy does go 7-3 with all of that dysfunction going on,
I'm going to be so mean to those of you who are arguing with me about Wentz. Oh my God, if that happens.
Who is arguing with you about Wentz, Luke? I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh,
is
baby.
Wentz even going to be healthy enough to be the backup? Like, is Wentz in surgery as we speak?
Do we even
That's
want
what I'd
that?
like to hear.
He
because
should be in surgery.
It seems like he's pretty hurt. Like,
yeah, I'm
really,
gonna
really
drop
hurt.
the bit for just 1 second, guy. For your own health, please. Please, they
I
could sign
couldn't-
Desmond Ridder again. I don't care. You need to take care of that shoulder, my guy.
I could only see him like come off the field like holding his arm a couple times, but apparently the broadcast just had all these like close-ups of him.
Here's the
just,
close-ups
like,
of him
deeply
like
in pain.
grimacing and
Oh
it was
my
just, like in
God.
extraordinary pain. And it was like, and like, I saw some people are like, oh, he's performing for the camera, and it's like, I don't think you know what NFL players are like, they are on the field dealing with whatever's happening on. He doesn't know where the camera is. Are you kidding me? It's not like Xavier Rhodes, pulling up lame after every. He's doing it after successful completions, as rare as they were. Like it was bad, man.
He was getting lit up. Like he was taking hits.
When he bat that ball down, like with his dominant hand, and then started holding his opposite elbow and shoulder,
moving around, like stretches this, even that.
You can't breathe right now without being in pain.
Dude, yeah, so watching that game, it did feel like coaching malpractice, right? It's like, hey, I know that like Max Brosmer, you'd be throwing him into the fire or whatever. Do it. That's the job now. I'm like, this guy is dying. That's crazy. Like, it's not Halloween yet. He can't be a ghost. That's ridiculous. You got to put Max Brosmer out there. Just not even necessarily that he's better. Just for this guy's
Zimmer-esque move. It was a Zimmer-esque move to say, we're going to keep the rookie on the bench and let the gritty veteran with one arm go out there and take shot after shot after shot.
It was confusing, though, because then every third camera shot, when they'd pan over, he'd be smiling to Josh McCown.
McCown's smile got some run on Twitter.
People got really mad about that. You don't know what they were talking about. They could have been like, man, this one sucks, doesn't it? Haha, yep.
Who was it? Was it Derek Anderson who snapped at the media?
Yes.
Arizona. Yes. We're talking. We're just talking.
I put my heart out there, and it's like, I mean, that was funny, but you are right. So I do not care if they're getting beat 40-0 and they're smiling on the sideline. Let them have this, man. Their day is ruined. Let them have some gallows humor, man.
Yeah. If we're talking body language, I thought KOC looked a little bit numb. Like a little bit like
I
don't know if the camera panned to it, but I saw some I'll go with gesticulation on the sideline at times.
Sure.
Just go in more depth.
When Carson Wentz would miss an open receiver or take a sack he wasn't supposed to take, Kevin O'Connell was throwing his arms around on the sideline. He looked visibly pretty angry at
They didn't show that a lot.
Going. But
no, I just saw
the
dead inside
Try practicing
reactions
next time, dude.
1,000-yard stare. There were some rumors, courtesy of, as far as I can tell, Polymarket, trying to stir up a TJ Hockenson trade rumor.
Sam, we don't.
I don't believe in the rumor itself, but I would like to talk about the conversation. Like, if you did get a call about TJ Hockenson, what would you say? That's next on the Squad Show. We're brought to you today by PrizePicks. We make decisions every day, but on PrizePicks, when you make the right decision, you get paid. Don't miss the excitement of this sports season, whether it's NHL, NBA, NFL. If you haven't tried it yet, PrizePicks is super simple, super easy. Pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stats. If you get it right, you win. Takes 60 seconds to put together an entry. This group tried a group entry yesterday. Didn't quite cash. We didn't do the flex play, so we didn't give ourselves a chance to, miss one and still win. You can do that. The new stacks feature is also a game changer. You can now pick more on Steph Curry's points, threes, and assists in the same lineup. Pretty cool. Download the PrizePicks app today. Use code LOCKEDONNFL to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONNFL for $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, it's good to be right. And we're also brought to you by Rugiet. Let's be real. Making excuses doesn't solve anything. Heard them before, fellas. I'm just stressed. I'm tired. It happens to everybody. When it comes to performance, though, sometimes your body needs a little extra support. That's where Rugiet comes in, and Rugiet.com offering fast-acting, doctor-prescribed treatments for ED designed to help you stop making excuses and start making moves. Connect with a board-certified doctor 100% online. It's not an awkward waiting room situation, no in-person appointments, and treatment ships discreetly straight to your door. Visit rugiet.com/LockedOnNFL to get 15% off your first order. rugiet.com/LockedOnNFL. And don't forget to use our code LockedOnNFL so they know we sent you. Rugiet, stop making excuses, guys, and start making moves. Trade deadline is a week from tomorrow, November 4th in the afternoon. I've already seen it. There's rumors about TJ Hockenson from unfounded sources on Twitter. And apparently in these from these non-credible tweets, the Rams and the Broncos are rumored to want him.
I'm sure they do.
TJ Hockenson, let me set it up. TJ Hockenson is signed through 2027, so 2 years after this. He is on pace for 539 yards this year. Very Rudolphian. He's 28 years old, and he's had crappy quarterback play all year. Got the lowest yards per route run of his career right now. Very, very inefficient, kind of a check down guy, not getting downfield. But again, let me reemphasize: crappy quarterback play
and bad tackles. He's chipping like every play.
He's chipping a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. When you're in 3 out of 5 snaps, chipping, helping
He
block.
was chipping so much in the Browns game.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
that. This is
Which
a
they
Justin
did help
School
contain
stat.
Myles Garrett quite a bit. That worked. But
People forget that tight ends aren't just like a fantasy extra player. They gotta have like jobs that they do on every play.
I don't know. I don't understand why you'd sell low on this asset. I don't know why you would give up on that piece at this point.
I mean, I think there's not really a scenario where like you construct an understanding of what the Vikings' goals are, where trading TJ Hockenson improves your ability to access those goals, right? Like I understand, like in theory, like draft picks will, help you rebuild if that's what you want to do. But primarily the idea is either, right? Like instead of rebuilding, the idea is either to kind of see what you have in JJ and more importantly, develop what you have in JJ or win games with JJ, right? And draft picks don't win you games, right? They're just in your pocket until next year. And draft picks won't develop your quarterback until maybe next year. And I think even that is kind of questionable, right? Hockenson, it'd be nice to have, an offense with like multiple threats available to your quarterback as he's figuring out what works for him and what doesn't, right? Like it doesn't make sense from any, and plus I think with the trade you take like an $8-9 million cap hit next year if you trade him.
What does anybody have the cap savings? Like what's
if you trade him right now, you would save $11 million on the 2025 cap, but that would just roll over, of course. You would take $11 million in more prorated bonus stuff, but save $15 million in the salary. So you would save a little bit more in 2026, but it wouldn't be super substantial.
Like 4 or 5, you're saying, once those cancel each other out.
So the cap hits 21-ish next year. What would you pay on the cap?
So because
the cap hits 21-ish, you would save like 5-ish of that.
Okay.
Just because of the all the dead
rolls into that
most of the dead cap next time.
Yeah.
So what can you get with $5 million in free agency? What can Kwesi get with $5 million?
Probably a lot, but probably it's not worth it still. But
with 4 years, unlimited possibilities.
Yeah. But also
serious backup quarterback.
Maybe. Also to your point, Sam, you would be selling low on an asset. Like that's the worst part is that you're selling him at probably the trough of his value, right? Because it kind of depends on like how other GMs interpret value and whether or not they pay attention to like receiving yards. And our evidence does suggest that they pay more attention to these statistics than maybe that they should. But you're getting the worst possible price for him. He's played pretty well since like week 3. I don't understand like why you would do something like that.
The price on Hockenson when he was a much higher asset when the Vikings acquired him was a 2-4 swap 1 year and a 3-4 swap the next year.
Yeah,
not gonna get that. Wouldn't be close to that this time around. So we also don't know if Josh Oliver's foot is still on his body. Like he hurt his foot and he got carted off. Braun, you said that was a cart situation. We don't know if there's a tight end on this team left.
Ben Urasek
got a
tight end for the. I think people who want that are just mad. I don't really care what Polymarket said on Twitter. Jesus, But people who are like advocating for getting rid of TJ Hockenson, they're just mad. They want someone to get punished because they're mad at the Vikings. They don't think it's better for the Vikings. They want to see a head roll. They want to see blood because they think somebody deserves to lose their job over what has happened. And one of those people that is getting that is TJ Hockenson. They're not looking at it as a value proposition. They're looking at it as functionally how you fire someone in the middle of the season as you trade him at the deadline.
Yeah, I think, both you guys are right. Going back to what Arif mentioned, though, I don't think it's so much about TJ Hockenson, right? It's got to be about developing your quarterback. You invested that top 10 pick into last year. It's taking him out of this equation, going to help that goal or hurt that goal. Again, you could sit here and play devil's advocate. So, well, it depends on what you do with the $5 million extra cap space. Okay, so now it's on Kwesi, but now we're still talking 2026 and beyond. So, end of the day, I definitely push to keep him. When he's healthy and he doesn't need to stay in and help Chip, again, 3 out of 5 snaps, he's still a very good tight end, especially in this KOC offense, too, that tight ends are, a really big piece of the puzzle.
Is there a buying angle before the deadline? Acquiring a piece? If you're really serious about this,
it would be tough just because the piece that you would acquire, you'd essentially want to want a rental for the end of the year because the cap situation next year is I'm not going to say dire because there is flexibility to get out of it, but it's not accommodating to the concept of grabbing a guy that has 2, 3, 4 years left on his contract. Unless the person that you're acquiring has so much flexibility in their contract. But if they do, they're going to cost a lot. Like that's part of the deal with like flexible contracts for good players. And I don't know that the Vikings have the capital to acquire that kind of player.
They have a lot of draft picks, mostly because they traded away a lot of their good players. So maybe they could just kind of reverse some of that. But I kind of like the idea of Quinnen Williams. The Jets are going to be in a fire sale. He's like 28 next year, I think. He's youngish. His
utterly
contract
complete the absolute benching of Javon Hargrave.
Well, you just kind of have to admit that you botched this room, and just kind of say, like, look, you have a long-term and a short-term issue, which I think when you're making trades at the deadline, unless you're doing let's just pick up the 8 games of Odell Beckham because we're making a Super Bowl run kind of thing, you're looking for that. That was what the TJ Hockenson trade was, right? They had a short-term issue at tight end and a long-term issue at tight end. And there, so you can, you're not just renting somebody for 8 games, right? You're bringing that guy up. And if I recall, his contract is workable. It's tenable. I don't super mind adding to their 2026 cap crunch problem. I think it's solvable enough where you can still add a little more and still be solvable. And it sounds as though the price would not be out of this world. It would be like a second or so, maybe a second and more, depending on how you can negotiate with the Jets team that's floundering. Just got its first win and escaped infamy, and we're going on Halloween here. Not going great over there. And then you can completely reframe the Harrison Phillips thing as we traded Harrison Phillips and draft picks for Quinnen Williams when all was said and done, and you feel a lot better about that.
It's always fun to repackage individual trades as part of a whole.
Yeah.
PFF put together 20 trade candidates. What about do they need a Cam Robinson? Do they, because they've got now 2 tackles with aggravated knee injuries. Jermaine Illuminor is a possibility. 30-year-old from the Giants. I assume he's on a 1-year or an expiring contract.
A center on the market? I'm not interested in these tackles or these guards.
Okay.
Is there a center on the
market?
I think
it's
the tackles are as healthy as they've been all season now, hopefully after this, right?
Yeah. And when I say
they're
interior,
trending toward the right way.
Well, I don't.
I say interior.
Yarsaw seemed healthier on Sunday than he did on Thursday, so I don't know about as healthy as they've been. But
they've rushed these 2 guys back from injuries and then.
I wouldn't.
We should talk about someday because that's a pretty rough strategy. But
I wouldn't say that the tackle crisis, as it were, is so significant that you need to grab a starter, right? Because you expect to have your starters next week, so I wouldn't go there. The guard situation is what it is. Donovan Jackson is hopefully going to improve. Will Fries is, not as good as advertised, but he's an upgrade, right? So it's the center. That's it. That's all I care about. If you're going to make a trade for the offensive line.
PFF listed Reek Woolen having a tough year, 4th year.
Be a buy low. Be very Kwesi.
expiring deal. Jeffrey Okuda could miss extended time with a second concussion this year, so you got to think about cornerback. Depth there still stinks.
Oh boy, you do have Dwight McGlothern playing, huh?
Yeah. So you could just get bigger, faster Dwight McGlothern, actually,
Right.
with Reek.
Yes, actually. That sounds awesome.
Yeah.
I'm in.
Did they have any corners on the roster that maybe they could have turned to right now that they miss? Or can we not stop doing this? Losing my mind here. You had a very balanced, complete 53-man roster, and you've traded away 2 players and just been ridiculously punished for that. Play your players.
You got to steer into the skid, actually. When you're bad, you got to trade those players away even more.
Just commit to it.
We're going to have 25 draft picks in 2026. And then everyone's going to be like, wait, we let Kwesi have 26 draft picks?
Right. That's the problem.
Is that what you all want? Is that what we're doing?
Also, low key, Vikings lost Kobe King.
Yeah, Jets
Nets
claimed
claimed him.
Another
Ron Johnson
overthought
devastated.
misstep. Got to keep Austin Keys on the roster.
The next Marcus Epps. Or
Michael
Michael Pruitt.
Thomas can't expose him to waivers or any of the 900 undrafted rookies that made your team because none of your other players are good. Gotta try to sneak that draft pick through.
I don't have enough energy to be mad about this Kobe King stuff until it pops up 2 years later and he's good.
Did you see
Ari
Troy Dye?
blasting game.
Troy Dye
Ari
got a
blasting
lick
game.
on the quarterback on Thursday. Troy Dye played in a football game against us.
He's been a guy for them a little bit.
Yeah,
He's
he's been a
like
guy
Eric
in the
Wilson
league.
for them.
What was that? The 2021 class where they had 6 day 3 picks.
No,
Marcus
the
Epps,
2020
Blake
class
was it
where
2020?
where Sean Payton traded them his entire day 3 for Adam Troutman.
How'd that work out?
Better for us because I'm pretty sure one of those guys was Metellus.
Yeah, Dye was that
Yeah,
huge
Metellus,
2020
Randall.
class.
Die Epps.
Yeah,
There's a
I'm
receiver
still
in there
always
somewhere.
just gonna remember.
Was that
What's that?
Osborne?
Osborne?
Yeah.
Osborne as well.
Osborne
Yeah, KJ
and
Osborne.
and the other one with the YouTube channel.
Just flooded the NFL with talent.
Rodney
The Vikings
Adams.
did on day 3.
Rodney Adams.
Rodney
that's it.
Adams was before, I thought.
I thought he was. Oh no, he was Stacey Coley's class, not.
Yeah,
yeah,
oh,
that's
okay.
right. Yeah. But I will say the thing about Troy Dye I'm always going to remember is that he had this huge ostentatious necklace on after a game, and we just ran out of questions in the press room, and it was like a win, so we just kind of felt like, well, everyone wants to talk, so we should ask questions. And as we're running low, I'm like, hey, what's up with your necklace? And he told us his son was born recently, and his son's name is Ty, so it's Tie Dye. Yeah. Yep.
All right.
And I got that.
And that's
I got that question.
That's who's beating your right tackle.
Yeah.
All right.
Tie-Dye's
Year
dad.
8. He's had a nice career for himself. And a lot of guys do that. We don't need to expect every player to, have their whole 10-year career with one team just because they're drafted by that team. But it would be super cool if all of this pain that we are experiencing from Phillips.
Do we know Kobe King is good? I'm not going to get upset about it until we know he's good.
But,
we complain
all
about
that got
Kwesi
you
not
was a
being able to
6th-round
draft,
pick.
and then suddenly they lose one of his draft picks that doesn't have a single snap. Great. Uh-oh.
Are you new here?
Yes.
I'm
Yes,
going
that's
at it
what we're
from a
gonna do.
different angle. It's so easy to piss away a 6th-round pick on accident. And they have paid so much pain to get a 6th-round pick. To get something that is that easy to just whoops, I dropped it on the road.
It is probably the case that Tavir Thomas and Austin Keys would not have been claimed off of waivers.
Why was it him? Why was
Yeah.
it the guy people have draft grades on? What are
probably
we
it.
doing?
Yeah.
It was probably the
Kwesi,
mistake, I agree.
This is how much they value 6th-round picks in theory. They spent weeks negotiating for an Adam Thielen trade. That was like a 6th, 7th swap. That took weeks to
No, they
negotiate.
spent a
Cracked at
4
the
for a
perfect
5
moment.
there.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they traded Kobe King for Adam Thielen. Is that how that works, Luke? Is that how did we do it right?
I think they lost on both that.
Do we still revisit that in 2 years?
Yeah.
Does anyone want Adam Thielen? We're gonna diagnose why the Vikings can't be good.
As in like on the trade block, you're selling.
Yeah,
Would anybody take free to a good
What
home?
are you talking about?
We won't even charge. We'll pay. We might Osweiler this.
A lot of people, a lot of people in our neighborhood, they'll just put furniture out on the curb. Just take it. You know,
Yeah,
I'm
really
sorry.
old, beat up furniture. This is a very good metaphor.
Like it used, like this was lovely back in its prime.
This cost $4,000 brand new. Okay.
So that's next. Brought to you today by Gametime. NFL's back, NBA's back. Nothing like is better than being in the stadium or the arena cheering on your team.
Gametime.
T-Wolves home opener last night. Could have gotten the building for like $33 against the Pacers. Sold out, low lights. That's the best. You got the Vikings going to Detroit, then they'll be back home against Baltimore. That's going to be a hot ticket. Make sure you check out Gametime and get the best deal because there's no hidden fees. There's no hidden fees, so what you see is what you pay. 100% authentic tickets, no scams, delivered on time, best price, and the zone deals are great. You pick the section, Gametime picks the seats, you save big, I promise you. Faster, cheaper, less stressful than any way you bought tickets before. Download the Gametime app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, that's promo code LOCKEDON NFL for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Download Gametime today. All right, little doomsday talk here, but the Vikings are staring at the 7th consecutive attempt to make the playoffs in back-to-back years that has not resulted in a playoff appearance. 7 consecutive. Only time it happened in this quarter century was Favre in 2009. And then obviously 10 didn't go well. That was the start of the streak. Why is this happening? Why can the Vikings not string together 2 decent seasons? I'll answer my own question first. It's a combo platter of you've never had like enough continuity at the quarterback position. And when you did, you had no continuity at the play caller position. That's my like high level diagnosis is that you switched Kubiaks every other year in the Cousins era. But you're switching but it seems like when it's not the Cousins era, you're switching quarterbacks every other year.
Should have kept Case Keenum, man. That's obviously, you said quarterback continuity. There it is.
Should have gone with Teddy and a rookie. That's what I was saying at the time. That rookie would have been Lamar Jackson.
Dang.
I mean, okay, like Sam, generally, like, yeah, you're right. But I think the quarterback continuity is an issue. And then once you had quarterback continuity, you had offensive coordinator continuity, which is not like necessarily like Kevin Stefanski got hired to be a head coach, right? Like that's not like you didn't screw that one up, right? But I think on top of that, like I think we just kind of have to remember that making the playoffs is tremendously difficult, and most teams that make the playoffs have a couple of things go their way that are not going to go their way, the next year, right? And so the years that the Vikings made the play, like 2017, they were really healthy on defense, right? They were, notably unhealthy at quarterback, but that didn't matter. They were really healthy on defense, and that didn't necessarily translate into 2018, where they had a really good defense. But you bring in a new quarterback, right? So that I think that's the primary. Like I think you take a look at a lot of the Vikings have like a really interesting it's striped like it's every other season. But you look at a lot of teams that are good or make the playoffs, and a lot of them don't repeat, or they only repeat once and then they fall off. Like it's just tough. Injuries happen. Offensive coordinators, defensive coordinators, they get hired or fired. Your quarterbacks have to change for whatever reason. Yeah, I mean the Vikings have done this rental thing for a little bit, but like the quarterback's knee exploded once. Like what do you want them to do about that?
It is about like if you look at the teams that do make the playoffs year in, year out, every single time. They're the teams that have a Josh Allen or a Patrick Mahomes, and that's what you need to have. That's what you need to go pursue. And I think the Vikings committing to a young quarterback is the correct way to pursue it. Even if it doesn't work, I think that's probably the best way to go about it. But yeah, when the most what they haven't also had in 2 consecutive years, a quarterback start all of the games of the regular season since Fran Tarkenton. Like, that's absolutely part of this. And even the ones that they have had that have been in the organization for a long time, like Kirk Cousins, were so unbelievably inconsistent that you would have years where things would fall apart. And you know, where the floor would fall out from under them. It is super hard to make the playoffs twice in a row. It's not like everybody left and right is doing this, and the Vikings are the only team that can't seem to manage it. I don't think this is particularly special to the Vikings at all, but it's pretty easy to diagnose as, a lack of, like, they haven't found the guy. Gotta have the guy.
Gotta have the guy.
Year by year
Sam, does
diagnosis.
this feel like, I was just going to say, you're going to do the year by year. Does this year feel like specifically one of those other years, like 2010 kind of actually comes to mind? Maybe it's just because you said it, but
this kind of feels disastrous as 2010.
Well,
I don't know. I feel like a lot of
us,
us
kind of running it back, right? Like 2010, they ran everybody back. This year, they ran everybody back and then added like 2-3 more veteran pieces.
I think the thing with the 2010 team is that coming off of 2009, you legitimately had one of the best teams in the NFL with a quarterback coming off of a career year that you brought back. Whereas this year, it's like, we know the 14-win season wasn't real. No one believes that was like a genuine, like, this is what we typically expect a 14-win team in terms of their talent and consistency to be. Like, we knew that. And so going into the season, like, yeah, obviously you hoped that not only would you have JJ McCarthy all year, but that he would be playing at a reasonable level. But I don't think even people necessarily expected him to be better than Sam Darnold. Not this version of Sam Darnold that's absolutely killing it, but like last year's Sam Darnold. I don't think people necessarily expected him to be better than Sam Darnold. I think that they just kind of understood that the economics and situation were such that it made more sense to have JJ, even if you weren't going to have as many wins. So it doesn't feel like 2010 because I don't think the expectation. 2010, the expectation was the Super Bowl. This year, the expectation going in was like, they should make the playoffs. Now, they failed to meet that, for sure. They failed to meet that expectation so far. But, like, it was just like, maybe you should make the playoffs.
I think it's 2023. Like, I know it's recency bias, but it's close game regression, it's turnover regression, and it's key injuries. That was the story a couple of years ago, and it's the story again. Your quarterback got hurt after 8 games when you were 500. This time the quarterback got hurt early in the season. But the difference, Luke, is that, you know, the backup quarterback situations have been incredibly fortunate for the Vikings the past 25 years.
No kidding.
And
we've been spoiled by Case Keenum.
Majorly
we weren't
spoiled.
Ready for a Carson Wentz.
Well,
this was jarring.
Even like your Sean Hills and, you know, Sam Bradford will show up, and then some other guy. Like, it's crazy how that's worked out.
Mm-hmm.
Brad Johnson.
Bradford was like fine to good, and he's like the 5th best backup in the last quarter century that they've had to trot out for an extended run. It's kind of
throw out a
wild.
different year that this feels like. It feels like 2020, not 2023. Feels like a year where they had such a disastrous offseason that it undid a team with a little bit of momentum. And look, 2020 spelled the beginning of the end for the Zimmer era. I hope that's not the case here, because it would be a much shorter tenure. But it does kind of feel like the entire overall philosophy. Oh, we lost Sam. Uh-oh. All right. No rules.
Just right.
Okay, so here's what I think about the grassy knoll. No.
Off the rails.
Yeah, immediately. But no, like it feels like a season that you can chalk up something like 2016 to a lot of injuries, but you couldn't really chalk that up to 2020. 2020, they made their own bed, and it feels a little bit more like they've made their own bed, and they have to drastically turn around. Everyone has to look in the mirror and be like, whoa, I'm doing stuff wrong. And that's how you have to like pull out of it.
Yeah.
Remind me, 2020, what was, because I don't have the guts to pull up Pro Reference right now, obviously, with my computer, but what was you said they committed to, had a bad offseason. Was it rolling it back?
They still haven't recovered from letting all the cornerbacks walk.
Yeah, so
and then
7
not
out of their 11 starters were different in 2020 versus 2019.
That's right.
Whereas they had famous continuity going all the way back to 2015, where they'd only have 1 or 2 starter changes, and I believe in 1 year, 0 starter changes from year to year. And then they go from like 1 to 7 changes on defense. And just like this year, you could see why it would be alarming. You would ask questions actually at press conferences being like, hey, this seems like concerning. Are you sure you want to do this? With Zimmer, it was like, hey, you have like a famously complicated defense that requires a level of communication and understanding that is
you think Holton Hill got this?
Yeah, it's built on like layers and layers and years of learning, and then you have you changed the defense to accommodate the fact that Hilton and and the crew are God, I'm trying to remember like some of these
Harrison Hand,
oh my God.
Jeff Gladney,
Mike
Gladney.
Hughes coming off
Cameron
the
Yeah,
injury,
and so
I
it's
think.
like, are you sure that this group of rookies and second years are going to be able to pick up the system that a guy living in the system for 7 years and took 3 years to pick up is going to, or they're going to operate at the same level? And he's like, I'm not going to change a thing. And this year it's like, hey, I know that the Flyers have worked out for you in the past, but like, how confident are you honestly that Jeff Okuda is going to do it? Hey, I know that Isaiah Rodgers had a good playoff game. But like, and you know, Isaiah Rodgers has been volatile. But like, how confident are you that Isaiah Rodgers can replace like Stephon Gilmore? Like, how confident are you that losing Cam Bynum and replacing him with Theo Jackson is really going to work out? There's like a lot of leaps of faith that and then they traded Harrison Phillips. We didn't even get to ask about that because it happened pretty late in the process. It's like, how confident are you that that is all going to work out? And you know, whoops.
I feel like a key difference here is, Braun, is that we knew the 2019 offseason was bad, but we liked this offseason, did we not? I don't think too many people, us included, were saying, I think we liked, when we were talking naively, hey, the Vikings could have 22 starters back next year. If Harrison Smith comes back another year, like this group could be together for multiple years. And now that sounds like the worst thing ever. Like now it already feels stale.
Yeah.
We're already talking about shaking it up.
Well, and part of the offseason, like the way I'm judging this offseason to me is the stuff they did on like cut down day and right before the season that's hurt them so bad.
Mm-hmm.
But like the reason I'm bringing up that 2020 is a lot of it is because that is when they let the cornerback room die, and the cornerback room has not yet been revived. They still have not recovered from that exact mistake, even though it's a totally different regime now. But also, like that 2020 was something of a crossroads. So I always think of it as the day Spielman died. They could have identified that Kirk Cousins was not going to be good enough to win the Super Bowl, and they could have started the steps of moving a different direction. They weren't going to cut him or trade him that year, but they didn't have to extend him. And I'll never forget the day that they extended Kirk Cousins was the same day they traded away Stephon Diggs. And they were so confident in those decisions that the entire PR blitz of that day was celebrating the CJ Ham extension.
Now I'm just imagining like a Don McLean parody of American Pie, but like it's the day that Spielman died.
The day Rick Spielman's career died.
I would listen.
I mean, like
I need it.
That was the path. Like you make those decisions, and then 2 years later, you're doing TikToks on your porch.
Hey, he also technically was employed by CBS Sports for a while.
And the 33rd team.
I think he's part of the Commanders now, but it was a bit of a weird sabbatical.
Consultant. Yeah.
You know, I think about the quarterback room, though. It's not like they didn't try to invest. I mean, Jeff Gladney, Mike Hughes, Cam Dantzler, those are
they made
a lot of heavy ass. I mean,
they
tried.
definitely made investments. They did not do anything to maximize the value of those investments. They didn't make the defense. And it's like, hey, every time Zimmer has like started going back to Cincinnati, every time Zimmer's acquired a rookie quarter, it's taken at least 2 years for that guy to get online if he ever does. And now all of them are rookies and they're starting. That's crazy. Why are
Cut to Mitch Trubisky dicing you up with your playoff hopes on the line? Like,
dude, Josh Robinson at one point was their best corner.
It was rough.
I loved Josh Robinson.
I loved him.
I'll stand for no slander. We have nerdy stats and a Lions look ahead with some injury news for Detroit coming up next. Brought to you by FanDuel today. NBA's back, and I'm loving it. Wolves got a win last night. They're 2-1. They can't cover double-digit spreads against teams that are on a load management night. What are you talking about? Of course the Pacers were going to cover that. But FanDuel has live bets on everything from who will score next to fourth quarter comebacks. Combine your live bets into a same-game parlay for a shot at a bigger payout. You can probably get some nice odds on like a division winner parlay right now in the NBA if you've got some hunches. It just makes the whole season exciting. So FanDuel's giving new customers $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. Head to FanDuel.com to sign up and play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Let's jump into everybody's favorite segment.
Analytics fans rejoice. It's time to get educated.
Whoa, you're blowing my mind right now.
With the nerdy stat of the day.
I'll pay off the tease from the Open, and Macho Meach asked for it. I'll deliver it via Alex Lewis of The Athletic. Encapsulating the Vikings in short yardage. 2nd and 2 or less, and in 3rd and 2 or less. Vikings in the Kevin O'Connell era have the highest pass rate in those situations, the lowest run rate in those situations, and the lowest success rate in those situations in the 3.5 years Kevin O'Connell's been at the helm. That is unbelievable. They're passing it like 51% of the time, and they have the worst success in the NFL with decently good quarterback play over that span.
In the replies to that, I'm glad that it was kind of teased out. In the replies to that, someone asked if Alec could just like isolate it to the 3rd down, and he didn't. It was still 1st and 32nd, right? And I believe the success rate was also just bad. But I'm glad that he did that, because I don't love combining 2nd down into this, because I do think that you should be throwing a little bit more on 2nd down. Maybe not at this rate necessarily, but at a higher rate. And I would rather overcorrect than undercorrect on that. I do think throwing on 2nd down is generally a good move. But 3rd down, 4th down, you got to be way more comfortable running the ball than you are. And I know that they've been bad at running the ball in short yardage, but it sounds like passing a lot in short yardage is not doing you a ton of favors anyway. So just try to run the ball.
The Kubiaks would have never had trouble with this. Who else has
so my nerdy stat, it's kind of a twofer, right? So one is that in the Brian Flores era of defense, this is the most too high that they've ever run. And it's always been kind of like a too high defense. And in particular, the most cover 6 that they've ever run, which is really interesting given how much people hated the cover 6 that Ed Donatel became like kind of locally infamous for. Cover 6 at like an 18% rate, cover 2 at like a 50+% rate. So not cover 2, too high at a 50+% rate. Great. So what does that mean? That means in theory that you're deterring these kind of deep passes and encouraging short passes. And that's true. The Vikings have actually encouraged more short passes this year than they have any other year. So if I take a look at 0 to 10 yards and 10 to 19 yards, not only are the Vikings encouraging short passes, in the short yardage and intermediate yardage window, they're number 1 in EPA per play. Not as high in success rate, right? But still in the top 10 in success rate in both of those areas, which is higher than they were 2023, 2024. So they're better against short passes, it seems, than they've ever been. So what do you think the problem is? The problem is, even though they've been deterring deep passes at a really high rate this year, when they do happen, they are catastrophically bad for the Vikings. This is the only category in yardage area where the Vikings are below average in EPA per play compared to the rest of the league, where they are 32nd of 32 teams in EPA per play on passes targeted 20 or more yards down the field per next gen stats. In success rate, they are a little bit better. They're like 28th. So that's super cool. The completion rate that they've allowed on deep passes this year is like 55%. In the previous 2 years, it was hovering around 30 to 36% on deep passes. So I would argue that this would suggest that the primary issue for the Vikings are on a series of relatively volatile plays that may correct itself a little bit over time. But it is the most infuriating way to be good at some things and not other things, because deep passes hurt a lot. This is my nerdy stat.
I can kind of piggyback on that with mine. When the Vikings call a middle of field open coverage, the versus middle of field closed, and middle field closed is also not great, but they're giving up 10.3 yards an attempt with middle field open, which is horrifying. They've given up 6 of the touchdowns. Opposing teams have a 76% completion percentage. I wanted to find like an EPA per play, but I only could get total EPA, and I didn't put the math together. They're getting gashed with the middle of the field open. They're also blitzing less with the middle of the field open than closed. They're calling more of the like kind of fire zone. That's a middle of field closed coverage behind those, or just straight up man coverage, which they do not have the dudes to do. It feels a little bit like the Vikings have forgotten who they are when it comes to this, but only in the good ways, because in the bad ways where you can still, if you have a quarterback that's decent at getting the ball over the middle and a tight end that can run even some, you can just kind of like spam that all day. We saw the Chargers take that to the extreme, but it's been happening. I'm sorry. This is since week 4, by the way. This is the last 4 games. It's been happening. Aaron Rodgers did it. Dylan Gabriel even got a couple on it. Of course, Jalen Hurts killed him on it and killed him on those explosives down the sideline as well.
Even Martin's getting shots on me.
It's rough. They forgot how to cover in like that cover 6, cover 4, cover 2, and that's where they want to live.
Woof.
I can get you the EP per play on that since week 4.
You got it now?
On middle of field open since week 4 coverage.
On the middle of the field open since week 4, -0. So the way the next gen stats for you, True Media does it is that the minuses are once again flipped. So minus is bad again on defense, where in most areas where you look up EPA per play, minus is good. Here, minus is bad. So -0.17 EPA per play given up by the defense, middle of the field open since week 4, which is 26th in the NFL. Middle of field closed, -0.37, which is 31st.
Jesus.
Oof.
Yeah. So it is better that they are in cover 6 more often, because the alternative is to give up 0.4 EPA per play.
That's horrific. That is like guys are scoring 5 touchdowns and putting up 500 yards on you if you call that every play bad.
Yeah,
it is
the
gracious.
second worst in the NFL.
Yeah.
By a kind of a margin. It's like the Panthers, Vikings,
Who's
and
worse than that?
The Ravens, actually.
Whoa.
Since week 4.
How'd
So it's
Caleb
the
do?
Panthers, Vikings, and
He just got that
Ravens all
defense,
kind of
right?
hanging out in the same spot at -0.37. And then there's like a gap. And this is like it's a really embarrassing team to have a gap with. It's the Tennessee Titans. The Titans are at -0.33. And that's a really significant shift. And it's like, wow, the Titans are kind of styling on you here, man. Are you sure you want to live here?
The Vikings are statistically really similar to the Titans this year in like an alarming number of ways. They're the NFC Titans.
Gross. Inman, you got anything?
Yeah, let's check out some ESPN win rates real quick. Look at some individual performances. Edge pass rush win rate. Jonathan Grenard finally had a sack last week. Arif loved that. Top 10 in the 10, right? Right below, actually, Myles Garrett and Micah Parsons. Garrett, Parsons, Grenard right there. So despite the lack of splashy, kind of sexy plays this year, he's still really good at football. Defensive tackle pass rush win rate. Anybody in the top 20? No. Offensive tackle pass block win rate. Brian O'Neill cracks the top 20. He's at 17. Smaller sample size.
I would imagine Darisaw doesn't have enough snaps to qualify.
Yeah, he's actually offensive tackle run block win rate number 2,
he does.
but small. Yeah, again, really small sample size. I'm surprised he got thrown in there. Defensive tackle run stop win rate. Again, small sample. But Levi Drake Rodriguez, number 3.
Really small sample. Okay, yeah. Sure.
Yeah, he's got
not as small as you think.
in the top
He's
10.
kind of a starter now.
He's like interior 3, and Hargrave is 4.
Hargrave is like out of the rotation.
He plays run defense the way I don't think the way his body style looks and the way he plays run defense are discordant to me, because he loves to backdoor. It works for him, right? But he loves to backdoor, and you're like, shouldn't you be just like holding up a double team, man? I mean, I'm glad it's working, but like, what's going on here? I love
Lions on Sunday. Let's all give one thing in 20 seconds about the Lions. And we'll have a lot more things coming on Thursday on the Squad Show. Malcolm Rodriguez is designated to return. Doesn't mean he'll play. He hasn't played all year. Brian Branch, though, will play off of his suspension, and the team's off a bye. This has the potential for disaster in this game is unbelievably high. Unbelievably high.
Excellent.
Lions off a bye. I'm just that alone has me terrified, shaking in boots.
They don't have a secondary, right? Like they're all hurt and dead.
Their safeties were unrecognizable, but again, they get Branch back. Amik Robertson and Rock Yassin.
Oh, I thought Rocky
Those are
Sin
still-
was like hurt.
Nah,
is
I
he-
think he's. Did he get hurt against Tampa? Because he played against Tampa.
Oh, okay.
He had like a actually decent game versus Tampa, I think.
Whole defense.
Darian Arnold, he's out.
Isn't he? Isn't he trying to get back? He's on the practice field.
Do they want that?
That's a good question.
He's
Like,
been rough.
I would much
Point.
rather have Amik Robertson.
You got Jamison Williams' brother in the stands posting Snapchats of like, this dude sucks.
Woof. I didn't know that. Woof.
And he's like not wrong to do it.
If you're
Magic
ever gonna,
Pineapple saying Rocky Sin may have gotten hurt late against Tampa.
Yeah,
Oh,
he did
okay.
get hurt late against Tampa. I don't know what the status is on that, but I don't
Okay.
know if it matters because of all of the nerdy stats we just gave for how teams that, like, if you can get the ball out quick and throw over the middle of the field, you can gash the Vikings. This might be like the team that does that.
Yeah. Yeah, if
they
you're ever going
also-
to have a game where you have like 33 carries or something, that keep that Lions offense off the field somehow, some way, whatever you got to do.
I do not know. I don't know how the Vikings can stymie what the Lions do
What's the spread?
without expecting someone to just like.
What is the spread?
7.5, 8.5.
I would guess more than a touchdown.
I would guess more than a touchdown too. I just don't really know how. Like what version of this defense am I supposed to want
Yeah.
that like stops
It's
this?
supposed to want. It's only 4.5.
No, it's 8.
Wait, hold on. This is stupid.
No way.
It's 8.
First
Um,
half.
Eight.
The
No,
first half?
no. It was 4.5 at season open, and MGM did not update, but everyone else has it at 8.5.
We're a FanDuel family.
Of course, FanDuel has it right.
FanDuel
Of course
has it right.
FanDuel
Yeah.
is
We're a
the one
FanDuel
that, I cannot live with another Lions game where Josh Metellus comes in on an uncontested blitz and Jared Goff throws it on 3rd and 12, or a split second before he gets hit for 22 yards over the middle.
Man, we should have done a
I have
third. and
bad
long
news
nerdy
for you.
stat.
That
That is
cannot take it.
precisely happening.
does Brian
what
Flores
makes you
have a
believe that it
changeup
won't?
in his arsenal? Like, does it always have to be fastballs? He knows that this quarterback is going to carve them. He knows that the Staffords of the world are going to carve them. The Herberts. Once in a while, just throw them a
They don't even know
changeup.
who's good on their team, man. They have
Just
no
cover.
idea what's going on out there.
Yeah, give me
Squad
the
still
Lions.
returns.
Minus 8.5.
I wonder what
It's not
Vikings
even a
1 to
reverse jinx
6
for me
is.
anymore. I'm just taking it.
Right.
Oh,
right.
by the way, Braun is leading over me in last in our betting contest. Braun has $3,000 and I have minus $2,000. That is the spread right now from first to last.
Incredible.
I'm
Incredible.
getting it all back this week, though.
I knew you were ahead, Braun.
Yeah, no. Well, the reverse jinx has just turned into shorting the Vikings is actually profitable.
Hey, every other year.
Option
Yeah.
plays, they always work. That is the official word of the Viking Squad Show.
Squad show back on Thursday. We get the Care 11 crew in here on Wednesday. Full week programming, talking Vikings, Lions, and we're so glad that you watched, listened, commented, and subscribed. Hey, thanks for getting locked on Vikings. Over 10K subscribers. We appreciate that. And we will talk to you next time.